Hello everybody, my name is Starrapter and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's a 7-season show that first appeared on ABC back in 2013. Yeah, this is one of the longer running series that I've watched in my life, and it's with good reason that I stuck with it up until the end. It just ended earlier this week, and I'm finally talking to you guys about this show. I've never reviewed any seasons in particular. I figured, you know what, let me just review my thoughts of the entire seasons of television. So if you guys have no idea what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is, it is really, I think to my knowledge, the first live action television in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yes, that's right. It predates Daredevil and all of those Netflix Marvel shows. So it was a really big deal at the time. And we have these characters such as Phil Coulson, who actually even was in a couple of the MCU films. I've been doing a rewatch. He was in Thor, he was in, I think, 1 or 2 of the Iron Man movies, and of course, he famously died in Avengers, and that's what this series takes place right after Avengers. You have Phil Coulson. He is the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D., this agency that works with the MCU. So this entire series is dealing with, what happens when the superheroes aren't at the forefront of the action? You have regular humans, well, mostly regular humans, right? You do have a superhero called Quake, which is a really cool character, but most of the team is just your average man. This is like the grunts that are doing the work behind the scenes that you don't see when Thor and Iron Man are duking it out against the aliens of the galaxy. So from that standpoint, it already was very appealing to me, and I think what this show does is it brings up a really likable cast of characters. You have, like I mentioned, Phil Coulson, but you also have Melinda May, this really good martial artist. You have Fitz and Simmons, this really cool pairing that are biological and technical geniuses. Of course, you have Mac, who is the engineer, the mechanic type of guy that really likes to get into a fight. There are a lot of memorable characters that make their way into the series that I think is one of the best parts about the series. You also have some really interesting tie-ins earlier in the series to the MCU. In particular, there are certain things that even deal with Hydra. Some things were so cool if you watch them as they came out on TV, in pairing with things like Age of Ultron and with Captain America Winter Soldier. There was direct tie-ins that were just like, oh my gosh, this is so powerful that ABC and MCU are able to work together. But later on, they started to kind of drift away from that. But at the same time, it was also really refreshing that they weren't so reliant on the MCU. They ended up going to like outer space, dealing with Ghost Rider, dealing with, life model decoys, dealing with books that were just crazy magic and whatnot in the MCU. Like, there were so many cool things. You had the Inhumans, the Terrigen Mist. So such big lore drops for the fans that have been involved heavily in the comics. I can see really appreciating the direction that they took, and it was a brave direction, and it was because of the fans that really made this show last a lot longer. I think this was originally going to be ending at season 5, and then fans had an outroar and actually made the show go a little bit longer. And it's quite evident if you go on social media, just see any video about Phil Coulson, or not Phil Coulson, Clark Gregg, as he embodies the character of Phil Coulson, and all the other actors that played these characters. They get together so well. Their chemistry is amazing, and that's, again, what really shines with this series. There's definitely stumbles throughout the seasons. I think that show really could have improved upon its villains. They kind of have a villain of the season, and that's pretty much what happens. There is no through line with it, and I feel at times, even though it did change direction, especially towards like the middle of this series, that was also a negative for me. Like, okay, where are we going next? It feels like it's kind of every season almost something different, which it's pretty good, but I would have liked to have more of a through line. It's kind of like a bit of identity crisis, if you ask me. Also, I never really felt like there were a lot of stakes involved with this series. There are characters that died numerous times and got brought back to life. So every time they would die, it said, okay, they're going to come back to life somehow. Eventually it just says to you that, okay, there's not much worth at risk here, which definitely leads me to just knowing that, okay, every character is safe, which is really not great on a series that is serialized such as this. My overall score for this series will be a 7.5 out of 10. I think this is one of the better superhero shows, and it's actually, I think, to my knowledge, the first superhero series I ever really watched like week to week to week. This is before I started watching the DC TV like Arrow and Flash, so this was something new, some kind of new territory for me. Before I watched this, I never was really into television, so it's definitely, I hold it high in my heart just for the fact that it was one of those first series that I really got hooked onto. This is a very hokey series, very campy series. The humor is just everything science fiction you would expect from a show like this. They really play hard into that category. Like, okay, we're not going to take ourselves too seriously. We are the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but we're also part of the MCU, which has a lot more humor than things like the DC animated or the DC universe. So definitely would recommend watching Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There's going to be, I think, all the seasons are on Netflix. Eventually, I'm sure it'll probably all get transferred to Disney+. Every season should be on Netflix, but the most current season, which is season 7. So what do you guys have to say about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Did you enjoy this series? Let's talk about it in the comment section down below. For more on everything on this channel, you can go ahead and subscribe. I mostly talk about Star Wars, but like this video, I occasionally talk about other topics as well. Make sure you go ahead and like this video and do comment and subscribe. That is going to do it for me, Starrapter. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.